Your attitude is a decision. Let that settle in for a moment. Not a feeling, not something that happens to you, not something determined by your circumstances or your past or the people around you. A decision, a daily, conscious, deliberate decision about how you are going to meet life, about how you are going to respond to what comes your way, about what lens you are going to use to see the world you wake up in every single morning. And that decision, that one single decision made consistently over time, changes everything. Most people believe that attitude is a reaction, that it is shaped by what happens to them, that if life goes well, their attitude will be good, and if life goes badly, their attitude will suffer. They hand the keys to their inner world over to the outer world, and then wonder why they feel so out of control. They wait for things to get better so they can feel better. They wait for circumstances to improve so their mindset can improve. They outsource the one thing that was always entirely theirs to own. And in doing so, they give away the most powerful thing a human being possesses. Because here is the truth that changes lives. You cannot always control what happens to you, but you can always, without exception, control how you respond to it. You can control the meaning you assign to what happens. You can control the story you tell yourself about what your circumstances mean for your future. You can control the attitude you carry into every room, every challenge, every setback, every opportunity. That control is not a small thing. That control is everything. Jim Rohn spent decades teaching this. He said that it is not what happens that determines the quality of your life. It is what you do about what happens. And what you do about what happens begins with how you think about what happens. It begins with attitude, with the mental posture you choose to bring to the reality in front of you. And that posture, that attitude can be developed. It can be strengthened. It can be made unbreakable. Not by pretending that hard things are not hard, but by deciding that hard things will not stop you. That is the foundation of an unbreakable positive mental attitude. Now let us be clear about what a positive mental attitude is not. It is not pretending that problems do not exist. It is not smiling through pain that deserves to be acknowledged. It is not the naive belief that everything will always work out perfectly without effort. It is not ignoring reality. It is not toxic positivity that dismisses real struggle. A real positive mental attitude is something far more powerful than any of that. It is the deep, grounded, unshakable belief that no matter what you face, you have what it takes to work through it. That no matter how difficult the season, it will not be the final season. That no matter how many times you fall, you are the kind of person who gets back up. That your potential is not determined by your current circumstances, but by your commitment to keep moving forward regardless of them. That is a positive mental attitude. Rooted not in denial but in strength, not in blindness but in belief, not in the absence of difficulty but in the refusal to be defined by it. And it is developed, day by day, decision by decision, thought by thought, not handed to you at birth, not reserved for certain people, built by the ones who decide to build it. So how do you build it? How do you develop something that cannot be broken by the inevitable hardships of a real human life? It starts with your input. What you allow into your mind shapes everything that comes out of it. Jim Rohn was direct about this. He said that you are the average of what you consistently expose yourself to, not just the people around you, the information you consume, the conversations you participate in, the content you feed your mind every single day. All of it is shaping you. All of it is either building the attitude you want or eroding it. Most people are completely unconscious about this. They expose themselves to hours of negativity daily without realizing what it is doing to their thinking. The news cycles built on fear and outrage. The conversations that drain rather than build. The environments that normalize complaint and victimhood. The voices that tell them why things cannot be done instead of how things can be. And then they wonder why staying positive feels so hard. Why maintaining belief in themselves feels like swimming against a current. You are swimming against the current because the current of average thinking is always flowing toward negativity, toward complaint, toward settling, toward why bother. And if you are not intentionally feeding your mind with something that pushes in the other direction, the current wins. So feed your mind differently, deliberately, consistently. Read the books that expand how you think about what is possible. Listen to the voices that challenge you to rise rather than the ones that confirm your limits. Surround yourself with people who are building something, who are growing, who believe in their own potential and in yours. Because environment is not neutral. It is always either lifting you or pulling you down. Choose your environment like your attitude depends on it, because it does. But here is where it goes deeper, because changing your inputs is important, but it is not enough on its own. Because you can fill your mind with the best ideas in the world and still find yourself crumbling when the pressure comes if you have not done the inner work, the work of deciding in advance who you are going to be when life gets hard. And life will get hard. It always does, not as a punishment, as a reality. The rain falls on everyone. Difficulty visits everyone. Setbacks find everyone. Loss touches everyone. The question has never been whether hard times will come. The question has always been what you will do when they arrive, what posture you will choose, what story you will tell yourself about what the difficulty means. Because the meaning you assign to a difficult event is more powerful than the event itself. Two people can go through the exact same hardship and come out of it completely differently. Not because of luck, not because one was stronger at the start, but because of the meaning they chose to assign. One says, "This happened to me, and it proves that the world is against me, and I should stop trying." The other says, "This happened to me, and it is going to teach me something and make me stronger, and I am not done yet." Same event. Completely different attitude. Completely different outcome. That is the power of the story you tell yourself. That is why developing your mental attitude is the most important work you will ever do. Because your story about what your life means is the foundation everything else is built on. And if that foundation is weak, nothing you build on top of it will last. Build the foundation strong. Build it out of belief, out of resilience, out of the decision that difficulty is your trainer and not your destroyer, out of the understanding that every challenge you face is developing a quality in you that comfort could never build, out of the knowledge that the people who have the strongest attitudes did not get them because life was easy. They built them because they kept choosing to rise when life was hard. Now let us talk about gratitude. Because gratitude is one of the most underestimated tools for developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude. Most people treat gratitude as a nice feeling that comes when things are going well, when you get what you wanted, when life cooperates. But real gratitude, the kind that builds mental strength, is not a feeling that follows good circumstances. It is a practice that precedes them. It is the discipline of actively looking for what is working in the middle of what is not, of finding the things worth appreciating in the season that is hard, of recognizing that even in difficulty there is growth, there is learning, there is something to be grateful for if you look with intention rather than waiting for it to announce itself. This is not easy. It requires practice. It requires the conscious decision every single day to look for what is good before cataloging what is hard, because your mind will naturally catalog what is hard. That is its job. It is designed to notice problems. But you can train it to notice possibility alongside the problems, to hold both at once, to acknowledge the difficulty without being consumed by it, to feel the weight of a hard season without losing sight of the reasons to keep going. That training happens through practice, through the daily habit of writing down 3 things you are grateful for, through the deliberate decision to start your day with appreciation before you open yourself to the news of the world, through the active choice to look at what you have rather than only what is missing, through speaking about your life in language that builds rather than destroys. Because language is not passive. The words you use to describe your situation shape how you experience it. The person who says, "I am terrible at this," is having a different internal experience than the person who says, "I have not mastered this yet." The person who says, "Nothing ever works for me," is living in a different mental universe than the person who says, "This did not work, and I am going to find what does." Same external situation, completely different internal world, built entirely by the language chosen to describe it. Choose your language like your attitude depends on it, because it does. Now let us talk about the people who will test your attitude, because they will come. They always do. The ones who doubt, the ones who discourage, the ones who look at what you are building and tell you why it will not work. The ones who are so invested in the limitations they have accepted for themselves that they feel threatened by your refusal to accept the same limitations. Do not be angry at these people. Understand them. They are not your enemies. They are mirrors of the person you could become if you stop doing the inner work. They are showing you what it looks like when someone lets the world determine their attitude instead of choosing it themselves. And in showing you that, they are giving you a reason to work harder on your own mindset. But do not let them into the place where your belief lives. Because belief is fragile in its early stages. It needs to be protected. Not from all challenge, because challenge strengthens it, but from the kind of sustained negativity that drips doubt into your thinking until you cannot remember why you believed in the first place. Guard your belief. Guard it seriously. Guard it like the most valuable thing you own. Because it is. Your belief in your own potential, your belief that what you are building matters, your belief that you can handle what comes, that belief is the engine of everything. Without it, the best plan in the world goes nowhere. With it, even an imperfect plan produces results, because belief drives action, and action drives outcomes. Protect the belief. Feed the belief. Develop the belief through daily evidence. Every morning you show up, you build a little more belief. Every time you push through resistance, you build a little more belief. Every time you choose your attitude instead of surrendering it to circumstance, you build a little more belief, until one day the belief is not fragile anymore. Until one day it is something solid and deep and real. Until one day it is unbreakable. That is the goal. Not the temporary motivation that spikes after a great speech and fades by the weekend. The deep, consistent, unshakable mental attitude that gets stronger when it is tested rather than weaker. The attitude that does not depend on the weather or the economy or other people's opinions or whether today is going well or badly. The attitude that says, I have decided who I am, and I have decided how I am going to meet whatever comes, and nothing outside of me gets to change that. That attitude is available to you. It is not reserved for certain people. It is built by the people who decide to build it, and then do the daily work to develop it. Now let us talk about setbacks. Because they are coming, and how you meet them will define your attitude more than almost anything else. Setbacks are not the exception in a life well lived. They are a central part of it. Every person who ever built something meaningful encountered resistance. Failure, disappointment, the plan that did not work, the investment that was lost, the relationship that ended, the opportunity that closed, the year that did not go the way they hoped. The difference between the people who develop an unbreakable attitude and the people who do not is not the presence or absence of setbacks. It is the interpretation of them. The person with an unbreakable positive mental attitude does not look at a setback and see evidence that they should stop. They look at a setback and see information, data, feedback about what needs to be adjusted, an education that could not have been received any other way. They understand what Jim Rohn understood and taught so powerfully, that the same wind blows on all of us, the wind of circumstance, the wind of difficulty, the wind of setback and loss and disappointment. The same wind blows on everyone. What determines where people end up is not the wind. It is the set of the sail, how you position yourself in relation to what comes. What attitude you choose when the wind blows hard against you. Set your sail deliberately. Set it toward growth. Set it toward learning. Set it toward the unshakable belief that every setback is preparing you for something. That every hard season is building something in you. That every failure is one step closer to the breakthrough that is coming for the person who does not stop. Because the breakthrough always comes for the person who does not stop. Not always on the timeline you planned, not always in the form you expected. But it comes for the ones who keep showing up, for the ones who keep believing, for the ones who refuse to let a setback become a stopping point. Now let us talk about the daily practice. Because an unbreakable positive mental attitude is not built in a single moment of inspiration. It is built through daily practice, through the small, consistent choices that most people do not notice and that most people underestimate. It is built through how you start your morning, through what you put in your mind before the world puts anything in it, through the deliberate choice to read something that builds you, to think something that expands you, to speak something that reflects the attitude you are developing rather than the circumstances you are working through the decision to move your body, because a body in motion produces a mind in motion, because physical discipline and mental discipline feed each other in ways that cannot be separated. It is built through the small choices in the middle of the day, when something goes wrong and you feel the familiar pull toward frustration and blame and complaint. That is the moment. That is the test, not the grand dramatic crisis, the small daily frustration, the thing that goes sideways, the plan that does not unfold the way you hoped, the moment when your default programming tries to take over and send you into the old patterns. In that moment, catch yourself. Pause. Choose. Not because it is easy, Because you have decided that your attitude is yours to choose and not the world's to dictate. And in that one small moment of choosing, you deposit another coin in the account of your mental strength. Another brick in the foundation of the attitude you are building. It is a tiny thing, but repeated every day it compounds. It becomes who you are. And it is built through how you end your day, through the practice of reflection, of looking at the day that just passed not with harsh judgment, but with honest assessment. What did I do well? What can I do better? What did I learn? What am I grateful for? And then closing the day with the decision that tomorrow you will bring the same commitment to choosing your attitude. That tomorrow you will show up again, that the building continues. Because an unbreakable positive mental attitude is not a destination you arrive at once and then possess forever without maintenance. It is a garden that must be tended daily, with intention, with the right inputs, with the pruning away of the thoughts and habits and voices that would let the weeds back in, with the consistent watering of belief and gratitude and forward momentum. Tend the garden every single day, not because it is easy, because you understand what it produces, because you understand that the quality of your inner world determines the quality of your outer world, because you understand that everything you want on the outside is preceded by who you are becoming on the inside. Become the person with the unbreakable attitude, not someday. Through the daily choices that begin today and never truly end, because growth does not have a finish line. The person who thinks they have arrived stops developing. The person who understands that becoming is a lifelong journey never stops growing. Never stop growing. Your attitude is a decision. Make it the right one. Every morning, every afternoon, every moment of difficulty, every setback, every triumph. Every ordinary Tuesday when nothing dramatic is happening and the work is quiet and the results are not yet visible, and the only thing keeping you going is the decision you made about who you are going to be. Make that decision with everything you have. Develop the attitude that cannot be broken. Feed it, protect it, practice it, return to it when you drift, and watch what it builds over time. Watch what it builds. Because everything worth having in a human life is downstream of attitude. The relationships, the results, the resilience, the joy, the capacity to handle difficulty without being destroyed by it, the ability to find meaning in the struggle and beauty in the ordinary and possibility in the place where others see only obstacles. All of it flows from the attitude you choose. So choose it deliberately. Choose it daily. Choose it with full understanding of what is at stake, and build something with it that lasts. Your attitude is a decision. Make it now. Now let us go further, because there is a layer beneath all of this that most people never reach. A layer where the real work of developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude actually lies. And that layer is self-discipline of thought. Not discipline of action. Discipline of thought. Because your actions follow your thoughts. Always. Without exception. What you do consistently in the world around you is a direct expression of what you are thinking consistently in the world inside you. Change the thinking and the actions change. Change the actions and the life changes. But it all begins with thought, with the discipline to catch the thinking that does not serve you and replace it with thinking that does. Most people allow their thoughts to run without supervision. They let fear thoughts grow unchecked. They let doubt thoughts multiply without challenge. They let the voice that says you cannot, you are not enough, you are not ready, you are going to fail, run without opposition. And then they wonder why their confidence is low, why their attitude is hard to maintain, why they feel stuck in a loop of trying and stopping, and trying again without ever breaking through. The loop is not broken by trying harder. It is broken by thinking differently, by catching the thought before it becomes a belief and replacing it with something that serves you, not with false positivity, with honest counterpoint. When the thought says this is too hard, you answer with this is hard and I have handled hard things before. When the thought says you are not enough, you answer with I am developing and every day I am becoming more capable. When the thought says nobody believes in you, you answer with I believe in me, and that is where it starts. You talk back to the limiting thoughts, not to argue with yourself indefinitely, but to stop the unchallenged narrative from becoming the foundation of your beliefs. Because a thought unchallenged long enough becomes a belief, and a belief once set shapes everything: your confidence, your courage, your willingness to try, your capacity to persist. All of it is built on the foundation of what you believe about yourself and about what is possible for you. Protect that foundation aggressively, And here is something that Jim Rohn taught that very few people truly understand. He said that the major value in life is not what you get. The major value in life is what you become. And what you become is a product of your attitude more than almost anything else. More than your talent. More than your starting point. More than your resources. Your attitude determines how you use your talent. Your attitude determines what you do with your starting point. Your attitude determines how resourceful you become when resources are scarce. Attitude is the multiplier on everything else you have. A talented person with a poor attitude will underperform a less talented person with an unbreakable one. Because the person with the unbreakable attitude keeps going when the talented one stops. Keeps learning when the talented one assumes they already know enough. Keeps growing when the talented one coasts. And over time, growth beats talent every single time. Develop the attitude and you develop the multiplier. Now let us talk about the relationship between attitude and action. Because one of the most important things to understand about a positive mental attitude is that it is not passive. It is not a feeling you maintain while sitting still. It is a force that must be expressed through action, because action confirms attitude. Action reinforces attitude. Action builds the evidence that your attitude is not just a nice idea, but a real and operational truth about who you are. When you believe you can do something, and then you do it, however imperfectly, you strengthen that belief. When you believe in your ability to handle difficulty, and then you handle it, even messily, you deepen the roots of that belief. When you believe your attitude can carry you through a hard season, and you actually let it carry you through a hard season, you prove to yourself that the belief is real. But when you believe something and do not act on it, the belief weakens. It has no evidence to stand on. It is just a thought that has never been tested. And untested beliefs are fragile. They sound good in quiet moments, but they crumble under pressure because they have never been confirmed by the fire of real action. So take action. Not just to produce results in the world, to produce proof in yourself, to build the internal evidence that your attitude is real and reliable and unbreakable. Every time you act on your belief despite fear, you make the belief stronger. Every time you choose your attitude in a hard moment and then keep moving, you make the attitude more deeply yours. Every time you do the difficult thing that your positive mental attitude told you was possible, you move one step closer to the version of yourself that does not doubt. That version of yourself exists. It is not a fantasy. It is who you are becoming through the daily discipline of choosing your attitude and acting on it consistently. Now let us talk about patience, because developing an unbreakable positive mental attitude takes time. It is not something that happens after one book or one speech or one good week. It is built over months and years of consistent practice, of choosing again and again, of returning after you drift, of forgiving yourself when you fall into old patterns and recommitting to the new ones. The people who develop it fully are the ones who accept from the beginning that it is a long game, that there will be days when the attitude slips, when the negativity wins around, when the old thinking comes back with convincing arguments. Those days are not failures. They are part of the process. The question is not whether you will have those days. The question is what you do when they come. Do you let one bad day become a bad week? Do you let a slip in attitude become a surrender of it? Or do you notice what happened, recommit to the work, and return to the practice the next morning with the understanding that building anything worthwhile requires showing up even after you did not show up perfectly? Return after the drift. Always. Because the returning is as important as the going. The person who returns after falling is building resilience that the person who never falls never develops. And resilience is part of what makes an attitude unbreakable. The knowledge, built through experience, that you can drift and return, that you can fall and rise, that a setback in your mental discipline is not a permanent condition, but a temporary one that you have the power to address. You always have the power to return. Now think about the long view. Think about the person you will be 5 years from now if you commit to developing your positive mental attitude every single day starting today. Think about how differently you will meet the world, how differently you will respond to difficulty, how differently you will see opportunity, how differently you will show up in your relationships, your work, your creative life, your inner life, how much more you will be capable of simply because you develop the mental posture that allows you to keep growing instead of stopping when things get hard. That version of you is not far away. It is built one day at a time, one choice at a time, One moment of catching the negative thought and replacing it. One morning of feeding your mind with something that builds rather than destroys. One hard season navigated with your attitude intact instead of shattered. One setback reframed as education instead of evidence of defeat. Those are the building blocks. Simple. Not easy, but simple, and completely within your reach. Reach for them every day, because the life you want begins with the attitude you choose. And the attitude you choose begins right now, in this moment, with the decision to develop something unbreakable inside you. Something that no circumstance can take. Something that no person can destroy. Something that no setback can permanently diminish. Your mind is yours. Your attitude is yours. Your inner world is yours. And it is the most powerful territory you will ever own. Claim it, develop it, protect it, and watch it transform everything around it. Your attitude is a decision. Make it today. Make it every day. And build a life that reflects the full power of a mind that has decided it will not be broken. Now consider this final and essential truth. The world will test your attitude. It will test it through people who do not believe in you. Through situations that do not cooperate with your plans. Through seasons that stretch longer than you expected and demand more than you prepared for. Through the ordinary hard days that nobody writes books about, but that quietly determine who you are becoming. Every single one of those tests is an invitation. An invitation to prove to yourself that the attitude you have been developing is real. That it is not a fair weather commitment that disappears when the pressure arrives. That it is something deeper, something forged. Something that has been built in the quiet and the struggle and the long patient work of choosing who you are going to be. Accept the invitation every time it comes. Not because it will always be comfortable, because it will always be worth it. Because every time you meet a test with your attitude intact, you become slightly more unbreakable than you were before. Every time you choose your response, instead of surrendering it to your circumstances, you become slightly more powerful than you were before. Every time you refuse to let the world write the story of your inner life, you take back a piece of yourself that average thinking had borrowed without permission. Take it all back. Build the attitude that no one can touch. Start today, keep going tomorrow. Never stop. That is the promise of an unbreakable positive mental attitude. Not a perfect life, a powerful one. Not a life without difficulty. A life with the strength to meet difficulty and grow through it. Build it. Today. Now.